What's going on, everybody? What we're going to be doing today is taking a look at the Hollywood Racks Destination 2. It's going to be a platform style rack. And one thing that I noticed right out of the box is it's extremely light. It's about like 20 pounds. So if you do plan on putting this in and out of your hitch quite often, it's going to be a lot less of a hassle, especially since it's a platform style. You really see some of those platform style racks get kind of up there in weight. So this one's definitely going to be a lot lighter than most. It is going to have an anti-rattle bolt, so I'm going to put that on right now. And it does come with a little locking cylinder on the end too. So what we're going to do in this video is kind of just go over some things. I'm going to put this in, load up a couple bikes, see how it interacts with different types of bikes. We're going to get a kid's bike and also just a normal adult size road bike. And then just see how it works with that. And then to show you guys some features. And then at the end of that, I'll probably have a decent opinion about it, and I'll give you guys that too. Alrighty, so got a bike. We're going to load it up. What we want to do is load the one closest to our vehicle first, handlebars facing the driver's side. Kind of just put it up into place. Get the wheel cradles lined up with your wheels. You might have to mess with the pedals a little bit. Get them to kind of seat right. There we go. So now we can go ahead and take our frame mount here. Just kind of put it, you can rotate it 360 degrees and also put it up and down the center mast. But get it to where it's going to be on that meat of the frame. Then you can strap that in. I do suggest doing this one first, just because it's going to hold this bike upright. All right. Not gonna lie, it wasn't the easiest thing getting this thing into place with my little drink carrier here, but once it's in there, it's in there. We don't really have to worry about it scratching anything either, because we do have a little bumper right here on the strap itself. So that'll protect our frame from any scratches. So now we can go ahead and do our wheel cradle straps. Same deal, got a little bumper to protect our rim. Let's put it in there and cinch it down. Try to get that bumper nice and centered on that wheel. And then there's going to be one more in the back. It's going to be the same exact deal. And it does rotate, so it makes it a little bit easier to get this angle. Perfect. Always give it a good shake. Make sure it's not going to really go anywhere. So the larger road bike did work pretty well, went on there somewhat easily, but let's go ahead and grab one of our smaller bikes. We got a bunch down here just for different test fit stuff, but we're gonna go with this little guy here and put her on there. So this one, what we're gonna do is put the handlebars facing the passenger side. It's gonna be pretty much the same exact thing that we just did, but obviously on the farthest most out mount. Undo all that. We're gonna put this up there, just like that. So after loading up two extremely different bikes, I can definitely say that this bike rack is going to just take care of all those different bike frames that you guys have. That's one thing that they talked about, how versatile this center mast is. So I can definitely go ahead and back that up and say it definitely works with multiple bikes. Even if you have a women's bike or even some of your sportier kind of off-road bikes, they're gonna work really great with this bike rack. So I have another bike. It's a little bit more of an odd shape when it comes to frames. So one thing that we can do with the center mast, I checked and it doesn't really fit too well when it's upright like so, but what we can do is we can actually either angle it a little towards the driver's side or a little towards the passenger side. I went ahead and moved this bolt right here just to the top. So as you can see, when it's in the top, it'll lean like that. When it's in the bottom, it'll lean a little bit more towards the driver's side. So this is gonna help just accommodate for some of those odd bike frame shapes like the one I have right here. So let's go ahead and put this on here really quick, just so you guys know, even if your bike is a little bit different than the norm, the Destination 2 does have a decent amount of adjustments. They're going to make it easy to get this bike on the frame. Perfect. Just like that. So it's super quick, super simple and easy just to move this center mast over to be able to accommodate for these types of bikes. So just to sum it all up for you guys, it is going to work with a decent amount of your bikes that you may have, but we do need to make sure that they're not going to go over that 35-pound weight limit for the bikes, and also it's not going to be ideal for those electric bikes or the fat tire bikes, and probably a carbon fiber bike wouldn't be the best just because of the frame contact. You might want to go with some sort of wheel hooks for those carbon fiber bikes, but all in all, it's going to do what it needs, and that is to just accommodate for all those different types of bikes that you guys have. So let's just go ahead and go over some features that might differentiate it from some of the other bike racks that you guys may be researching. So something that sets this bike rack apart from some of the other platform style racks, we were talking about it earlier, and that's the fact that it's extremely light. Some of those platform style racks, they kind of get up there in weight. So if you're one that's going to be putting it in and out of your hitch quite often, you might want to go ahead and go with the Destination 2 just because it's a little bit lighter. But others might not even really care. You don't really care about their back or anything like that. I just really do think if you guys are concerned with a heavier carrier, I do think that the Destination 2 is going to be one of the lighter platform style racks. So another thing that sets this bike rack apart from others is just the fact that we have a significant rise in our shank. It's about 9 inches from the center of our hinge pin hole up into this top bar here, and that's quite a lot, to be honest. Sometimes with those platform style racks, they actually kind of extend out quite a bit, but obviously whenever we're going off-road or going up an aggressive driveway, sometimes they bottom out. This Expedition does sit relatively higher up, but for your sedans that don't, I do think this is going to be a good bet, and you probably won't end up scratching the bottom of your rack. So there are some measurements we're going to go over, but just for now we're going to keep with the features, and one of which is just the fact that we can access the back of our hatch. If you have one, all we got to do is just lower this mast here, just like that. Try to get it seated in the right spot, like this. So now with that center mast down, we can fully access our back hatch on our SUV here. So if you guys have an SUV, all you got to do is just put this thing down and you can access everything and you don't have to take it out of the hitch. So to fold this up towards our vehicle, all we need to do is just pull this little pin here. And we have a threaded knob. Twist that off and you don't have to worry about losing it. It's got a little cable holding it on. And with that, all we got to do is just rotate it up, and then we can go ahead and replace our pin, thread it on there, and this is going to be ideal for some of those times where you're in a parking garage or something like that. You want to take off some of that length on the back, off the back of your vehicle, and luckily we do have this feature. But one thing that we don't have is the tilting feature back. So be sure to know that if you have a back hatch, you will have to remove your bikes and lower that center mast to be able to gain access to it. So another thing that sets this bike rack apart is just the way that it's going to connect to the frame of your bike. We do have a soft, durable rubber coating on the inside, which is always nice, and it is kind of a little concaved, so it will form to that circular pattern of your bike frame. A lot of the times with some of those platform style racks, they have the frame hooks, and just those are just pads. Really, this one's actually just going to wrap all the way around your bike, which I think is going to give you a more secure fit. And of course, they do rotate 360 degrees, and that's what's going to make it be compatible with a lot of your men's, women's, mountain bikes, or even just those road bikes, and of course, your kids' bikes too. So our wheel cradles here are going to be able to fit wheels up to 3 inches wide, and the strapping mechanism is kind of unique too, just because of the way it's going to allow you to pivot it, and we can actually unscrew this knob right here, and there's going to be two different holes, one here and one a little bit farther back. So if you have a smaller bike, you're bringing your kid to go ride somewhere, and he has a shorter wheelbase, so we can actually move this up to accommodate for that size bike as well. A lot of different adjustability, and of course we do have a little pad here, so you don't have to worry about your rims getting scratched up either. So this bike rack does come with an anti-rattle bolt. It's just a threaded hitch pin. Once you get that inserted in there, you can start. If you get it in there right, you can do it by hand for the most part. But you do actually have a tool that comes with the kit right here, and it will have the right size. But if you plan on taking it in and out, I do suggest grabbing a 3/4 inch socket. Just make a little bit easier work of it. A lot quicker too. Get this in, kind of wiggle it around while we're tightening. Make sure it seats in there real nice. All right, and then you can take our locking core, and the one side we're just going to stick it on the end there, just like that. And then we can go ahead, take our keys, and lock that on there, just like that. And then replace that cap. So once I have that all cinched down, as you can see, I really don't have any play down in our shank. I mean, I got the car really moving. So it definitely does what it needs to do, and that is just take all that rattle out of the inside of our hitch. But one thing that not a lot of bike racks come with is that little locking core on the end of the rattle bolt. So that's definitely a plus. You don't have to go back to the store and grab one, which is definitely something I would recommend having on your bike rack. Luckily, this one comes with it. So now for the moment you've all been waiting for, and that is the measurement section. So the first one we're going to do is from the center of our hitch pin hole to the farthest most point. It's going to be about 27.5 inches. And the second one we're going to do is from the center of the hitch pin hole to the closest point of our rack, and I'm going to call that probably here at that little plate. And that's going to be about 9.25 inches. So now with it tilted up, we're going to do those same measurements from the center of our hitch pin hole to the farthest most point, which is probably going to be right here. It's going to be about 17.5 inches. And then from the center of our hitch pin hole to the closest point here is going to be about 10 inches. So another thing that comes with the kit is one of our cam buckle type straps. What this is going to do is we have the option to wrap around each of our bike frames, and then we loop it around the center mast like so, and then do the same exact thing with our other bike and the center mast, just like that. What this is going to do is just basically connecting both your bikes to that center mast to where it's like pretty much one big piece. And it's just going to give you that added comfort if you guys need it. Luckily, you guys don't have to go and buy another one of these straps. It just comes with the kit. You can use it or not. You just pull it tight enough to where there's no slack, and then just go ahead and do something with all this excess. So let's just go ahead and go over some of the options that you guys have. Hollywood Racks does make the Sport Rider, which what it's going to differentiate between the Destination 2 is just the fact that we're going to have some frame hooks here. They will be removable. If we take out this little screw on the end, we can take these completely off if so, and we can actually lock these. So if you like the idea of locking your bikes to your rack, that's something that the Destination 2 isn't going to let us do. It does have a lockdown on the hitch, so it is going to stay locked into your receiver, but if you're looking for more security for your bikes, I do think the Sports Rider is going to get you that extra added protection. But other than that, really just the fact that you have the more versatile way to mount to your frame on the Destination 2, I do think it's going to be something that kind of sets it apart from most of the other platform style racks. But one thing that the Sport Rider will do for you is tilt away with your bikes installed. So right now I would have to undo my strap, undo all 3 straps for each bike, take them off, lower the mast, and then I could go and access the back of my hatch. So if you have a hatch, you don't want to do all those steps, the Sport Rider is probably going to be your best bet. So if you like all the features that we went over with the amount of weight that this thing is, about 20 pounds, super easy, and just the fact that it has so much rise in its shank, so we won't really have any issues bottoming out, I do think that the Destination 2 might be a good pick for you. Hopefully everything in this video kind of helped you guys make your decision and just show you guys your options. Again, this was the Hollywood Racks Destination 2 platform style bike rack.